Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, from time to time, unfortunately, I feel the need to get on here and say something like, well folks, if you think it's bad now, just wait, it's getting ready to get worse. And once again, we're at a place that I feel the need to say that. For those of you that aren't quite convinced that the rulers of this nation are very intent upon bringing us down and destroying us, maybe today's video will be what it takes to convince you. Because honestly, once you see all this, I don't see how there's any other way to take it. Now, I talked about this subject a couple of weeks back, and, you know, from time to time, of course, I get a lot of flack from different people based on what I say. They don't like it. They disagree with it. But I'm telling you, that one video, I received more hate mail than I have in quite a while, and that was talking about illegal aliens and illegal border crossings. And people just thought I was a horrible person because I didn't just welcome the whole world's people with welcome arms here. They thought that it was awful, that I felt that, you know, if you shouldn't cross into this country illegally, that there's a legal process. And I want to make it clear that I am not opposed to immigration. I'm not opposed to people coming here as long as they do it in a rightful manner, as long as they're going through the right process and that there is a need for them to come here. But in no way do I think, and in no way do I believe that the good book, the Bible, teaches us that we should just have open borders and allow anyone to come here no matter what and not ask any questions, because that was what a lot of people were saying, that how could I consider myself a believer if I just, you know, if I don't open the doors and just allow anyone to come in. I think that's a ridiculous argument. It just is. So most of you probably already know this, and if you don't, you're gonna learn a few things. Like I talked about a few weeks ago, I was warning at that time that there was the potential for many more thousands of border crossers coming into this country. And we've already seen a massive influx over the last year or so. We've seen that the border has become so porous, and the goal seems to be to allow more people in. There was a politician this past week that made the comment that Kamala Harris, who's been appointed as the border czar, should be looked at for insubordination because she's not doing her job. My argument is that she's doing exactly the job she was placed there to do, because this administration and our current government just seems to want to allow the doors wide open and allow them to come here. And that's exactly what's getting ready to happen. As of this morning, breaking news, the CDC announced that Title 42 was going to be eliminated. Now, what that means is, and I'll just kind of paraphrase it and dumb it down a little bit, that basically Title 42 was a policy that was put in place by the Trump administration during the health crisis that said, we're going to send back everyone that comes across the border, or at least the vast majority of them, because, well, there could be health problems. We don't know if they're carrying this little bug going around, and we can't verify that. So, you know, to keep the country safe, we're going to ship them all back from where they came from. And so now we're no longer doing that, or at least when this goes into full effect, we won't be. Which means it's just fair game for anyone that wants to come across the border. In fact, the Department of Homeland Security has been warning about this for the last few days. Get ready, folks. There's going to be a major influx of people crossing the border, and they are predicting at least 18,000 people a day. 18,000 people a day. If you do the math over a year's period, that's, you know, 6.5 million people or more per day coming into this country. That's a lot, folks. That's a lot, okay? We're talking a lot of people, millions of people a year coming into this country, on top of the ones that are coming here legally and on top of the refugees that would be brought in for various different reasons. These are people that's just coming across the border. That's a lot of people. And when you consider the state that we are in with our economy and the state that we are in, most importantly, in regards to this, when it comes to our food supply and how we're already being told to expect food shortages and radical price increases on our food, and we're going to bring a whole lot more people in this country that we have to feed. Ask yourself what kind of leadership would do this at this time and not have the intent upon bringing us down, because I just can't see it any other way right now. The problem, it's going to become astronomical. Mayors on the southern border are already saying it's going to be absolutely catastrophic. Border Patrol is unsure of how they're even going to handle the influx. As soon as it was talked about that this Title 42 might in fact get dropped, we've got reports that there were already migrant caravans headed to the border. Of course there are. Why, why not? If you're being told and you're seeing it in the news that, hey, if you come to America, we're going to let you in the door and we're going to give you everything free, why not do it? And I think that's what we're going to continue to see. And this 18,000 immigrant a month that the Department of Homeland Security is stating, that's their estimate. And most of us know that usually government estimates are a little on the low side. So it could certainly be a lot more illegals coming across the border. And a lot of you might say, well, we have a job shortage. We need jobs. We need workers because we have a lot of jobs. That's true. And a lot of them will fill those jobs. And, well, there'll be a lot more that'll fill your jobs too, because of the amount of people coming across. There's also going to be a lot that just don't fill any jobs, and they get kind of a free ride. The estimate is anywhere between 2 to 4 million came across the border last year. And now we're talking about an additional 6 to 7 million coming across this year. Where are they all going? One indication could be, and this was part of the topic of the last video that I made on this, is that I spoke with a personal friend here locally to me, who is a personal friend of a Catholic bishop that's over the diocese for the area that I live in. Now, I'm not Catholic at all, but hey, it's good information. And this bishop was told he was told this recently, that they as a charitable organization should prepare for a rapid influx in migrants into my area, into our region, which their diocese covers the entire southern state of Missouri. And at the time, we were wondering, is it all these ones that's come across already, or are there new ones coming? And now that we know that this Title 42 has been dropped, and the potential of 18,000+ people every day coming across the border, well, they got to put all those people somewhere. You can't put that many people every day in the same place. You kind of have to spread it out. And there's reports of that happening all over the country. So maybe they were being warned this because they knew this was happening. I have no evidence to back that up, but it does make you think. So I think this has been planned for a while. And it's just going to bring us down. Now, just some facts or some numbers here to throw at you. It's estimated that only 68% of illegal border crossers actually get stopped and get caught. And although that may sound like quite a few are getting stopped, the way this policy is, they're not sending them back. The vast majority are just not sending them back. The story is spun a lot in the news that, well, not all of these are going to stay here because they're seeking asylum, and not everyone seeking asylum is going to be granted that. Except they don't tell you that for the last couple of years now, the United Nations has been set up and working on the Mexican side, teaching border crossers how to seek asylum here in the United States. They've had their workers there as they get ready to cross the border, giving them paperwork and teaching them what to say and how to request it. So the odds are a lot more of them are going to get approval status for that asylum. So last month, a report came out that in the month of March, that about 62,000 border crossers, illegal border crossers, were not caught. So of all the ones that were caught last month that are going to get funneled through the system, there were 62,000 that were not caught at all, and we don't really know where they went. And you can't depend upon them getting caught by local authorities, because so many cities now are either sanctuary cities, or they just don't enforce immigration policies. They just don't do it. They don't have the manpower And so they just ignore the fact that a lot of these illegals are running loose in their cities. Why are we doing this? I mean, this doesn't make sense. I can't imagine anyone looking at this in the state that we are in right now, where we're hearing, record high inflation, where we're hearing that our economy isn't doing so well, when we're hearing that the supply chain is struggling, when we're being told by the most top level officials that there is a coming food shortages, that we need to prepare for food shortages, and then we're going to bring millions and millions and millions of people into this country to spread that around to them. This is in the same way, bringing people into this country under these times is no different than these bailouts or this creation of dollars that just waters down the value of our currency. It's kind of like this. I explain it this way to my children. If you have a pie and you cut it into 4 slices, you can feed 4 people. You cut those slices in half, it's 8 people. You cut those slices in half, now it's 16 people. If you keep doing that and keep doing that, and you get down to the point that each slice is maybe just but a paper thin piece of apple pie, you can feed a lot more people. But everyone's getting a much smaller piece of the pie. And that's what they've done with our currency for many years. They keep printing more and more and more. They're creating more and more currency, devaluing our dollar. Well, bringing a lot more illegals, a lot more people, just a rapid influx of our population, and we already have a limited amount of food that we're trying to spread around that's already expensive, and that we're already being told that there's going to be shortages and supply problems, and now you're going to dump several million people on top of that. It's just thinning down the already small supply. So it means that you and everyone else is going to get a smaller piece of the pie. This is going to get worse, folks. Just if you do the math based on their numbers, between now and this fall, it could be, the possibility of 3 to 4 million more illegals coming in through this country just in that time period. And that's probably about when the food shortages are really going to spike. And, well, it's just not going to get good. I truly believe that this is being done on purpose. There's no evidence that there's this many people that have to come here to truly seek asylum from that much danger. Are there some? Absolutely. I don't doubt it for one bit that there are some that legitimately are running for their lives. But there's no way that you can convince me that there's that many of them. They come here and they're usually well dressed a lot of times. They have technology with them like cell phones. They wear Biden t-shirts. They come here interestingly enough with the intent to support political parties like the Democrats and left-leaning agenda. Most of these come from socialist-leaning or openly socialist countries. And if you think they're going to come here and all of a sudden adopt this capitalistic, free market and very limited government ideology, you're wrong. They're not going to do it. So there's another thing that's happening. They're definitely changing the voting demographics of our nation once they start voting, which, even though it may be illegal on a federal level, there's no reason to believe that a lot of these might acquire false IDs so that they can vote. We saw what happened in the last election, so I don't think that there's any reason to believe that a lot of these just would never be able to vote. There's ways around it, and they've proven that already. So, folks, here we are talking about all the things that's been happening, that we've been getting ourselves prepared for because of food shortages and, rapid price increases, and just overall less going, to go around. And now we're opening the floodgates to a lot more people. I just can't see it any other way. I believe that this is going to really hurt us badly by opening the floodgates in this manner, especially at this time where the nation seems to be just being held on by a thread. The economy and the supply chains, They're so damaged from what's gone on. And then there's also plenty of other arguments of how many diseases might be brought across the border, how many terrorists might be brought across the border, just general criminals. There's all of that too. But, you know, we're just looking at kind of one thing right now. If you still believe that these people in power truly have our best interest at heart, then I don't know what to tell you to convince you otherwise, but it's just not true. They just don't have our best interest at heart. And we're seeing that every day with their actions. Folks, you've got to get serious about getting ready. I don't know what you can do to stop this, at least the influx of illegals. There probably isn't anything you can do. But what you can do is getting your own houses in order, getting yourselves prepared, getting ready for what's happening. Because like I said yesterday in a video, I would say within 10 to 12 months, this country is going to look radically different than it does right now. And it already looks really different compared to what it did a couple of years ago. And it's going to continue to change. This is what they want. This is part of their agenda. This is part of their reset agenda. And we've been hearing about it for years now, and they're finally in a place that they can really make it happen. So folks, continue to get yourselves ready. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.